Hey guys, welcome to Cosmic Road. So the UFO UAP report has finally dropped after like months of waiting. I mean, I can't believe they've dragged this out for this long. But let's see what we have. How many people are here? Let's see. It looks like we've got like maybe nine. We got Daniel Christensen and Morgan Mindy, Jake, not from State Farm. Thank you all, guys. Look, my hair is bad. I had kind of a late night last night, but yeah, I didn't go to bed until like 3:30 in the morning. Anyway, so if I seem a little ragged, even more than usual, that's why. But yeah, let's go over this. I haven't read it yet. I wanted my reaction to be fresh for you guys. I've been trying to stay away from other people commenting on it so that I could have a raw reaction here. And but let's get to it. I mean, it's been months. It's been months. I have heard a little bit that it doesn't seem like it, is that impressive. But that's about all I know about it. Yeah, can everybody hear me? Is my microphone working? Let me know in the chat. Is my yeah? I know my hair. I know. Okay. There we go. It's like is that better? It's like a little better, maybe. Okay. All right. Let's go over the report. Let's see. I don't know how to do the live. How do I do the? Can I do a screen share? Um, I don't see how to do that, so you may just have to watch me read it. All right. Well, I'll figure that out later. But if y'all know how to do a screen share, let me know. Okay, here we go. Unclassified 2022 annual report. So this is annual. So we'll see if this is a nothing burger. We'll see what next year brings. But I mean, if we have to wait a whole year for a bunch of nonsense, that's going to be really disappointing. Executive summary. Unidentified aerial phenomenon reporting is increasing, enabling a greater awareness of the airspace and increased opportunity to resolve UAP events. Blah, blah, blah. Arrow and Odney assessed that the observed increase in the UAP reporting rate is partially due to a better understanding of the possible threats. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Scope and assumptions. This annual report is provided by ODNI in response to a requirement established in blah, 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 blah. Okay. Assumptions. Multiple factors affect the observation or detection of UAP, such as weather, illumination, atmospheric, okay, blah, blah, blah. Now, government changes to manage UAP issues, establishment of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW, ODNI coordinating with ARROW and multi-agency partners, seeking opportunities. Yeah, okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, UAP reporting. The ODNI preliminary assessment on UAP discussed 144 UAP reports and had an information cutoff date of the 5th of March, 2021. Since then, ARROW received a total of 247 new UAP reports. An additional 119 reports on events that occurred before the 5th of March 2021 but were not included in the preliminary assessment have been discovered or reported after the preliminary assessment's time period. These 366 additional reports, when combined with 144 reports identified in the preliminary assessment, bring the total UAP reports catalog to date to 510. Since its establishment in July 2022, ARROW has formulated and started to leverage a robust analytical process against unidentified UAP reporting. Once completed, ARROW's final analytic findings will be available in their quarterly reports to policymakers. So I guess the public won't get the quarterly reports; they'll only get the annual reports. Is that maybe not? Arrow's initial analysis and characterization of the 366 newly identified reports, informed by a multi-agency process, judged more than half as exhibiting unremarkable characteristics. Well, duh. Duh. Why waste our time with that? Project Blue Book, it was designed as a debunking campaign, but even it said 90% of what they were seeing was, identifiable. Of course, that was a BS number, like the famous marsh gas incident was a real UFO. In daytime, there were no Marses around, multiple witnesses, a great UFO case. They put that down as identified. So that was in the 90% that was BS. So that 90% number isn't a real number, but I think it's safe to say that a majority of sightings are, not actual alien ships or whatever they are. But that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in the other percentage that are legit. What are they? What are they doing? How are they interacting with humanity? So why are they, yeah, anyway, so it's not starting off great. 26 characterized as unmanned aircraft systems, UAS or UAS like entities. I guess, is that supposed to be a drone? It says entity. 163 characterized as balloon or balloon like entities. Okay, well, a balloon like entity. Okay. I think they just mean balloons, but it is fun to think that they mean a balloon-like entity. 6 attributed to clutter. Initial characterization does not mean positively resolved or unidentified. This initial characterization better enables Arrow and ODNI to efficiently and effectively leverage resources against the remaining 171 uncharacterized and unattributed UAP reports. Some of these uncharacterized UAP appear to have demonstrated unusual flight characteristics or performance capabilities and require further analysis. Okay, all right, well, that's something. The majority of the new UAP reporting originates from the U.S. Navy and U.S. Air Force aviators. So we are getting some information from the Air Force. I guess that's encouraging. The aviators who witnessed UAP during the course of their operational duties and reported the events to the UAPTF or Arrow through official channels. Regardless of the collection or reporting method, many reports lack enough detailed data to enable attribution of UAP with a high certainty. Okay. Partnerships and collaboration, ODNI and Arrow are committed to the responsible sharing of UAP findings. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Flight safety concerns and health implications. UAP pose a safety of flight and collision hazard to air assets, potentially requiring aircraft operators to adjust flight patterns in response to their unauthorized presence in the airspace, operating outside of air traffic control standards and instruction. Yeah, and here I have to take a quick pause to direct you to a recent video that Preston Dennett made. If you're familiar with the well-known UFO researcher Preston Dennett, he did a video compiling a bunch of different episodes where UFOs have collided with human-controlled vehicles, cars, trains, and of course planes. Multiple planes have actually hit UFOs. It's so weird when you think of these things. You think, these are these advanced beings that, how can they make a mistake like that? Because I doubt they meant to hit the plane. But they are not infallible, which is, encouraging, I guess. If we were at odds with them, I don't want us to be at odds with them. I think that is bad. But I can't deny all the reports of shooting at them, and in some cases, them shooting back. There's that, on Lou Elizondo on that Unidentified TV show. There was that case in Italy where a UFO shot a laser beam at a helicopter. And, Wendell Stevens did a great presentation on a an incident where some military jets moved to intercept a UFO, and they caused those jets to disappear and never to reappear. Now, you could say in that case they were being defensive, but that's probably not much consolation to those for the families of those pilots. But anyway, there is some conflict seemingly. So if we were ever at odds with them, it is good to know that they are fallible. If you watch the David Paulides Missing 411 connection, the UFO connection, there's a really interesting case where there was a UFO abducting an elk. And apparently, because there was a human that was abducted and taken to them, and they were hunting elk. They were hunting elk. The aliens, the beings, were elk hunting. Well, in this one particular case, the UFO abducted an elk, lifted it up with some sort of tractor beam, and as it was moving off, the UFO blundered into a tree. It hit a tree. So these things are not infallible. I mean, as evidenced by the many crashes, right? So it's interesting, but whatever. So they're not gods. Well, I mean, there is the lady, Chris Bledsoe's the lady who may or may not be the goddess Hathor. And I don't even say that jokingly. So some of them might be gods. Okay, but most of them are not gods. To date, there have been no reported collisions between U.S. aircraft and UAP. Well, tell that to Preston Dennett. He has some really good intel on that. Regarding health concerns, there have also been no encounters with UAP confirmed to contribute directly to adverse health-related effects to the observers. Okay, let me read that again. Regarding health concerns, there have also been no encounters confirmed to contribute to health concerns. Well, I mean, that seems to contradict a lot of data. For example, in the Pentagon, the Skinwalkers at the Pentagon book, George Knapp and his co-authors, James Latatsky and Colm Kelleher, detail several very alarming cases, health effects, cancer, immune problems. So that appears to be simply a lie that the report is putting out. Maybe it'll clarify that later on, but that appears to be untrue. Because beyond simply the Skinwalkers at the Pentagon book, there's a lot of cases out there where people have had health effects. So I mean, never trust just one source. It's the silo of information problem. But anyway, acknowledging that health-related effects may appear at any time after an event occurs, Arrow will track any reported health implications related to UAP should they emerge. Summary and way ahead. UAP continue to represent a hazard to flight safety and pose a possible adversary collection threat. Since the publication of the ODNI preliminary assessment in June 2021, UAP reporting has increased, partially due to the concentrated effort to destigmatize the topic of UAP and instead recognize the potential risks that it poses as both a safety of flight hazard and potential adversarial activity. Whereas there were previously 144 reports covered during the 17 years of UAP reporting included in the ODNI preliminary assessment, there have been 247 more UAP reports during the 17 months since. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me go back and see if y'all guys have any comments. I haven't been reading your comments. Let me check it out. Let's see. We have to wait for the unclassified one now. Yeah, right. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe something will leak out. Surely something will leak out, right, from the unclassified report. Man, I would hope so. But what are you guys' thoughts so far? Let me know what you think. There was a 30-page report behind closed doors to the commission members, coupled with a 40-minute video showing ultra HD daylight close-up footage. That's from Surge Saw, if I'm saying that right. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. A 40-minute video showing ultra HD daylight close-up footage. Man, I'm like drooling at the thought. Shit. You know, Wow, 40-minute high definition footage. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. Well, they teased the whole drone footage. I mean, when they first started talking about the report months ago, they talked about this really high quality drone footage from the Middle East where they were picking up UAP. And so I don't know if that is the 40-minute video or not, or if there's multiple videos composing the 40 minutes. But yeah, they teased that and they didn't deliver. Very disappointing. Yeah, there's no videos or anything linked to this so far that I can see. Um, yeah, definitely an alien structure. Everybody has forgotten about that, and we are still grasping at straws. Yeah, no, there's structures, guys. There's structures. The moon, the Mars. Probably all over. Probably Antarctica. Man. I mean, the activity has been here for a long time. A long time. Let's go on with the report. Coordinated efforts between DoD, the IC, and other government agencies. Oh, hang on, did I missed a paragraph? Sorry, let me have a water break. Arrow has been established as the DoD focal point for UAP in an effort to gain fidelity on the nature of UAP and the possible risk UAP represent. Congress required the establishment of a central office for all UAP matters. That office formally became operational as the Arrow under the USDINS in July 2022. Arrow is the single focal point for all DoD UAP efforts, leading a whole of government approach to coordinate UAP collection, reporting, blah, blah, blah. Coordinated efforts between DoD, the IC, and other government agencies to collect and report UAP events have resulted in increased data sets spanning multiple security domains. Arrow, in coordination with the IC, is focused on identifying solutions to manage and alleviate the resulting data problem. Including the intake, indexing, visualization, blah, blah, blah. Okay, nothing interesting there. Okay, now it's moving on to the appendix. Are we done? Was that it? We're on to the appendix now? Wow. Wow. Whoa. Yeah, talk about a nothing burger, really. Yeah, Appendix A. Is there anything in the appendix that would be interesting? Requirement no later than October 31st. Elements. Each report under paragraph 1 shall include, with respect to the year covered, all reported identification or unidentified aerial phenomena related events that occurred during the 1 year period. Yeah, so, yeah, okay. No, yeah, okay. All right. All right, notes. Another Appendix B, Arrow establishment of office and duties. I mean, okay, is there anything interesting there? Establishment of office not later than 180 days after the date of the enactment in this act. The Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Director of National Intelligence, shall establish an office within a component of the Department of Defense in the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to carry out the duties of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force as in effect on the day before the date of enactment, and such other duties as required. The duties of the office established under subsection A shall include the following. Is this interesting at all? Developing procedures to synchronize and standardize the collection. Yeah. Developing processes and procedures, establishing procedures, evaluating links between UAP and adversarial foreign governments. Okay. Evaluating the threat that such incidents present to the United States, coordinating with other departments and agencies of the federal government as appropriate, coordinating with allies and partners of the U.S., preparing reports for Congress, and then okay, that was it. Nothing about anything interesting. Appendix C, index of key terms, range Fowler. Okay, whatever. So yeah, that is it, guys. That is it, man. Whoa. Waited all that time for nothing. I mean, that was nothing. I mean, I don't even know if that was a nothing burger. I mean, a burger implies there's a burger. At least they could fake it, right? I mean, they could put something in there, pad it out a little bit, pretend they were giving us something, but no, they didn't even pretend. It was just air. I mean, there's nothing in there. Whoa. Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Billy hates corruption. Can I comment? Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Give me your thoughts, guys. Love your show. Please keep it going. Thank you, Sergio. I appreciate that. Mick Goat. I can't say the whole name. Magoda Walla. I thought we were supposed to get big news this month, according to Jeremy Corbell. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, said that something big was coming. Something big was coming. Well, especially Jeremy. George was a little bit more hesitant. He was like, maybe it comes, but Jeremy was pretty gung ho on it. So I think that that's probably going to be a whistleblower or maybe a video will come out. So, yeah, that was a soy burger. Yeah, that was horrible. Let's see. The government will never tell us anything. That yes, there is a pyramid all over in the universe. It's part of the code of God. Everyone will see if they open their mind to love, harmony, and care. Well, that sounds nice. You think Corbell is full of it? Well, could be, could be. I don't think so. I think that he's been on the money so far. They've released some great videos. The video of the UFO going in the water, the pyramid thing. Yeah, they've got some good stuff they've put out, and I've loved the documentaries they've made on Bob Lazar. Really, really good stuff. And Skinwalker Ranch, of course. Corbell never said it was coming in the form of the UAP report. Exactly. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't. So he wasn't referring to the UAP report, but he might be referring to something that would leak out from the unclassified version of it. Maybe. I mean, he's got sources. He and George have sources I can only dream of. Yeah, that's not even half of a nothing burger. No, it really is. Billy hates corruption says cut their funds and they'll get really talkative. Yeah, right, right. They should. And they were supposed to make sure that that was well written. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, a well written nothing burger or a soy burger, half of a nothing soy burger. Disclosure will come when the alien attack begins. Ooh, well, I hope not. Billy says, understand who he's working with. Corbell is getting his info from Chris Mellon. Yeah, well, I'm sure he is, or some of it. I believe he has other sources like those leaks from the ships. Although that could have come to Chris too, so who knows? Do you have anything that makes you think in particular that he's working with Chris Mellon? I mean, I have no doubt that he is, but I'm sure he has. I think he probably has other sources. Now let's see. Hopefully, it's this nothing burger will inspire whistleblowers to come forward to move this conversation along. Yeah, no, we're going to get some whistleblowers. We are. They're going to come forward. There will be people that will come forward on this, and they will, have some juicy stuff to tell. I have no doubt of that. We are going to get some whistleblowers with some stories. There's going to be some cool stuff coming out. I have no doubt. I don't think it's going to be the deep stuff you know, if there is any deep stuff, but I believe there is. But yeah, I mean, all the craziness, working with the beings and stuff like that, none of that's going to come out. But I think we will get some people that have seen something related to reverse engineering the technology and flying the ships. Maybe. But we'll get something. We'll get some people talking about crash retrievals. Some stuff will come out. Some stuff will come out. Let's see. Billy says Chris said in an interview he was the source of those videos. Okay. Well, I missed that. All right. Well, thanks for telling me that. Corbell, Nat, Mellon, Elizondo are all working together. Oh, absolutely. They are the pro disclosure faction. I mean, they really are. So, hats off to those guys. Love those guys. They are the ones pushing all this stuff forward. They really are. I mean, and Chris Mellon helped write the language for the UAP task force, for the creation of the UAP task force. And I have no doubt that he was involved in the creation of the language for arrow. So, yeah, Chris Mellon is a huge, huge factor in all this. And of course, his family is very powerful, and he has deep roots in Washington, and he is pushing this disclosure stuff. It's a little disheartening when he says, he doesn't believe Bob Lazar, and that he has a source in Area 51 who discredits Bob and says that, yeah, none of that happened. So, it'd be interesting because, Jeremy and George are very pro Bob, since they are working so closely with Chris. I'd love to see if they could, convince him, or if he can convince them. I mean, if Bob's a liar, we need to know, right? But there's been so much corroboration for his story that's really hard to fathom. I think that his memory has probably been tampered with, and he may not be remembering everything the way it happened exactly. I think it may have been even weirder than he remembers. But Bill, send me a link. Yeah, absolutely, send me a link. Yeah. I want to see that. And so I guess Chris was the one that had access to those military videos of the pyramid and the thing going in the water, etc. And he's the one that gave those to Jeremy. Is that what happened? Time will reveal the truth in this matter between Chris and Bob. I don't think Bob is lying. I think it's an honest mistake. Yeah, well, we don't know who Chris's source is in Area 51. What evidence do we have that Chris's source wasn't feeding him a lie? I know Bob a lot better than I know Chris's source in Area 51. I'm not that I know Bob, but you know what I mean. Man, I'm so disappointed by that report. I mean, I expected to be disappointed, but I expected there to be something there. I mean, something to, at least talk about, and something to digest. But man, that was bogus. There's nothing. Does anybody have any comments or questions? It really didn't give us a whole lot to talk about, did it? I mean, really. The objects of no interest need to be repeated in the report to be thorough. Let me repeat that again. The objects of interest need to be repeated in the report. I'm not sure quite what that means. UFO historian says terrible. Man, it really was terrible. It really was super disappointing. And, if this is the tack they are going to take going forward, my hopes are going down. As Bender says in Futurama, hopes deleted. That was just really, really bad. So, this is just the first report. So I guess we can say, if we wanted to be optimistic about this, that they're still putting Arrow together. They're still understanding how to do this kind of thing and to collate the evidence. And they're still assembling the team in the office, probably putting it all together. Got to put your potted plant on your desk before you can get too deep into the UFO stuff. So, I guess we could try to be optimistic about it, but man, they didn't give us a lot to be optimistic about. They could have, I mean, they could have put something in there, anything in there, just a short video, even if it was a crappy UFO video, they could have put something in there, even if they wanted to give us one of those lame little, videos like they showed at the congressional briefing. When Bray and Moultrie put out that, little video that a pilot took out of the cockpit. It was just a kind of a blurry, grainy, couple second shot of a UFO. And, I have no doubt that was a real, object. But, it was the weakest video they could find to show to Congress to, to keep their project going, to keep the funding going, and to keep the program going. So, but I'm sure they have plenty of other weak videos they could have put out. I would have preferred a weak video to this soy burger. I mean, man, If you mention balloons and clutter again and again, is it tactical? Yeah, probably brainwashing. They're good at that. I fell a victim to it for years. Trying to turn the UFO topic into a fringe topic. Just makes me so mad that they push that on the public, and so many people like me fall for it. You know, um, yeah, it's just disgusting, and they brainwash people about that. Project Blue Book Reloaded. Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that behind the scenes more is going on. So I think that it's kind of tricky because I think Lou Elizondo's main goal, or one of his main goals in all of this, was to push things forward in the government. He wanted the government to take this stuff seriously. And that they all have, Harry Reid, all of those guys, they wanted OSAP to be a special access program, and they couldn't get it. And then it was disbanded and eventually kind of morphed into ATIP. And then Lou Elizondo wanted ATIP to become a special access program, and he couldn't get it. He couldn't even brief the Mad Dog, and he was really ticked off about that. And that's one of the major reasons why he went public. It wasn't simply to give the public this information, although I think he genuinely wants to provide disclosure and all of that. I love Lou. I'm not in any way saying anything anti Lou, but I do think that he really wants to get the government to take this seriously. And so I think that is what a lot of this is about, getting Congress involved. Uh, you know, and they have been very successful in that. So behind closed doors, I think they're having much more sophisticated and interesting conversations, and they are taking this seriously, and things are happening behind closed doors. However, that's not super satisfying to us, and it'll be very disappointing if that is the tack they take going forward. So if Congress deserves to know this stuff, we do. This is a government of the people, damn it. So yeah. Lack of transparency. Yeah, after you've established objects of no interest, why do they continue to mention them? Yeah, right. This makes the taxpayer feel the whole endeavor was not worth doing to start with. Yeah, absolutely. If the whistleblower thing is true, then a guy like Elizondo will have no excuse now to say it all. I forget he'll want to protect his sources. Don't lose faith. We're making progress. No, we are. We are. I'm not losing faith in the progress, but I am losing faith in the Arrow's willingness to talk about this stuff to the public. I think behind closed doors things are happening, but I yeah, that is a concern. But we'll see how things. I mean, this is early days. This is early days. The journey on this thing has just begun. It really has. If you testified or think of doing it, would you feel safe coming forward based on this report? Well, that really depends on what's going behind closed doors. I mean, it really does, and we don't know what that is. We have no proof of better talk closed door, or do we? Well, like somebody else was saying, behind closed doors, there was a much longer presentation, and they were given a 40-minute high definition video of UAP activity. So yeah, so there's definitely more going on behind closed doors. Absolutely, 100, 1000%. But, again, we are a government of the people. If it's going on behind closed doors, we should know about it, unless it's, a matter of national security. And then it needs to be a true matter of national security, absolutely vital, critical element. And otherwise, this stuff needs to come out. And, if they want to unroll it slowly so as to avoid, chaos in the streets, then so be it. But this was a good opportunity to start unrolling that. So I'm not seeing a plan in action on this. I guess that's what really disappoints me, is I was kind of thinking that this report would be the beginning of the official disclosure process. And so they would reveal something, something small, but they would reveal something that would get the conversation going or continue the conversation, elevate the conversation, get more people talking about it. And they didn't. So I'm not seeing a coordinated disclosure process, like the 7-year plan that some people have talked about. I was hoping that the 7-year plan would begin today, and it didn't. It didn't. So, expect a bombshell in Lou's book. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for Lou's book. Remember his story about tribesmen in the Amazon finding a 747. Yeah. Expect something like that in his book. Looks like they wanted to be sure there was nothing exciting in the report that would make any real headlines. Yeah. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished, damn it. Non-humans being here is a phobia or orders not to admit from higher ups. Maybe they will release a few more new UFO videos. They need to. I mean, they can't tease us with a high quality drone footage of UFOs and then not even release a single grainy photograph. I mean, this is just such BS. Such BS. Oh, and I haven't said it yet. So, yeah, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future videos, all that kind of stuff. So, it's national security because you don't want the people to know that you are not on top of the food chain. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's not even just national security. That's just human security, right? Yeah. Suddenly you find out that you're not the big dog in the room, that there's a lot of bigger dogs and you are at their mercy. Hopefully they're friendly and you probably shouldn't be shooting at them. But I hope they know what they're doing. I hope they know what they're doing. Do they? I mean, has the government really shown a lot of evidence that they know what they're doing? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why people are so excited. It will be 100% disappointing. Well, what's come out has been 100% disappointing. It really has. Really has. Does Biden know the story about the report? They obviously or otherwise we would be cooked already. Yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah, I mean if the beings wanted to take over, if they wanted to wipe us out and take over, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So yeah, absolutely 100%. So whatever they're here to do, that's not it. Are they? Some people have suggested maybe they are using us as a resource for some reason, and that sounds dire. So I hope that's not what's going on. Possibly we are allied. And when I say we, I mean, the control group. Maybe the control group is allied with the beings that mean us well and want to help us against those that see us as a resource. And that's kind of like the best case scenario I can put together. Let's see. I don't know why people are so excited yet. Does that Biden know? Yeah, it looks like they wanted to be sure. Yeah, let's see. All right, guys. Does anybody else have anything to say? The Galactic Federation is behind the cover up. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, very possibly. The beings, if they wanted to disclose, if they wanted there to be UFO disclosure, there would be UFO disclosure right now. I mean, they could sit down on the White House lawn in 2 seconds. They could have done that 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and they haven't. So, what's up with that? Yeah, but meanwhile, they are continuing to make themselves known. They have the ability to cloak themselves and not be seen when they don't want to be seen. As I've discussed already, they're not infallible and they can make mistakes, but in broad strokes, they can hide themselves, but they choose not to. And in fact, in many cases, they put on displays for people. They put on these big displays. So some of these beings, because again, I don't think we're dealing with a monolithic group. There's different beings involved and different races and different vibrations and all sorts of stuff. So, but some of them do want us to know they're there. They don't want to sit down on the White House lawn, but they do want maybe a grassroots movement to begin and for this to seep out in the consciousness. And when enough people are aware of this and want to interact with them, then they will be more open about it. That's my best guess. And then there are the negative ones that don't mean as well. I believe they are jinn. Yeah, some of them could be absolutely, or whatever the jinn are based on. Because a lot of mythology is, I think, is based on real stuff. What's next? Is there anything else coming up on the horizon, or is that it? Well, I mean, yeah, there's lots of stuff coming up on the horizon. Lots of stuff. Like I said, yeah, whistleblowers. We have whistleblower protection now, so we're going to have whistleblowers coming forward. They've already started coming forward behind closed doors, like Robert Salas and others have talked behind closed doors. Two members of Congress, they're talking about their experiences and their evidence, shutting down nuclear missiles. I mean, that's big. So we'll see where that goes and what seeps out to the public. So far, they're not super pro public, which is really disappointing. Interdimensional beings with their own technology, which seems like magic. Absolutely, absolutely. What's next? Yeah, that's the Corbell thing and the whistleblower. Yeah. That's right. We have whatever Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp were talking about. I can't wait for that, and that's supposed to come out this month. So stay tuned. Maybe the declassified version of this. Yeah, I hope maybe we will get something more. I mean, people like Tim Burchett, is very open with the public, not 100%, but more than the others. Maybe he will, disclose something. We can hope. So these UAP just coexist with us, but want nothing to do with us. What's the theories of any relationship with us humans? Are we food or livestock? God, I hope not. I hope not. But yeah, we could be a resource to some of these beings. What does that mean? Does that mean, they need our genetics for their hybridization program? Some other reasons? I mean, there's various experiments that I've heard about, or various projects conducted by the, alien abduction program, consciousness displacement. The big one that we know about is the hybridization program. Does that mean that people involved in the other programs have their minds wiped more thoroughly? Is that more secret? Does that mean we're allowed to know about the hybridization program, but not about that other stuff? I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, that's a whole alien abduction rant or whatever. So these UAP just coexist with us. Well, yeah, so yeah, some of them do seem to coexist with us, and some of them may have been on the planet longer than we have. What does that mean? I don't know. Does that mean they're intelligent dinosaurs? Does that mean they are living in a slightly altered, a higher vibrational rate? They exist on Earth, but at a higher vibration? Because that's something that I've heard about, like on Venus and Mars, for example. Some people say there are beings on Venus, and that when those beings were coming to George Adamski claiming to be from Venus, they were actually from Venus, but at a different vibration or slightly different dimension or density or whatever it is, whatever the word is. And so they weren't quite in our reality, or they were, but just at a different vibration. So, and that's how they could live there and not get cooked. Let's see. I may have to have a bite to eat, guys. I'm blood sugar. I'm hypoglycemic. Is there an explanation why this cover up is universal? Yeah, y'all may have to watch me masticate. Sorry. I may have to go, so y'all don't have to watch me eat. Not hard to understand why they would want to hang around on Earth. It's definitely a beautiful garden spot compared to any other planet we've ever been able to spot. No, I mean, absolutely. I like Earth. I don't want to go to Mars. I mean, unless I had a ship that could bring me back. I'd love a tour around the solar system like George Adamski got, and others. There have been plenty of experiencers that have been given tours of the solar system and beyond, higher dimensions, other realities. Bring it on. But no probing. No probing. These pilots are not going anywhere. They encounter these things every flight. Yeah, that's what Ryan Graves and others have said. Like with the Roosevelt incident, or case rather, the USS Roosevelt, where two of those videos in 2017 came from. They were going, the battle group was going back and forth from the DC area to the war zone, and they were seeing these objects almost every day. And, I think it was Ryan Graves that almost collided with one. Oh my God, girlfriend decided she needs to talk. Okay. Good luck. I hope it was a good talk. For sure, Todd, we've got one of the good planets. Yeah, we do. We do. We absolutely do. And that's another thing. The beings often talk about Gaia. I mean, the beings will flat up use the word Gaia. I mean, it's all telepathic, and I'm sure that's how your brain is interpreting it. But yeah, the beings will talk about the planet. And there are cases where, well, I mean, I've talked about before. I think the Edgar Mitchell Foundation, part of their, study of alien abduction phenomena, show that people that were abducted numerous times were more likely to be pro-environment. So, and there have been other cases where recovered memories where people remember essentially being brainwashed to be pro-environment. I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but that just indicates that is a strong interest the beings have. So does that mean they live here? Does that mean they, are interacting with Gaia in some way? Are they doing that for our benefit because they want us to live on a healthy planet? I don't know. No. I'd love to ask him, but no probing. Woo. I don't know if that means like woo-woo. The woo-woo is a big part of it. Yeah, I mean, if you're not comfortable with the woo-woo, I totally get that. I would have been right there with you a few years ago. Hi, I'm new to this channel. Do you have physical encounters or experiences with ET? Well, I guess my answer to that would be a little complicated. I've only seen one, maybe two UFOs, but I've had numerous metaphysical experiences. Now, I don't want to set myself up as a super experiencer or anything. I'm not, but I have had some really incredible, to me, metaphysical experiences: Kundalini awakening, miraculous healing, other, more paranormally stuff, messages from beyond I've gotten, really cool. And I was an atheist just a few years ago, a non-believer in UFOs and all of this stuff. I thought we lived in a really boring world. I'm a novelist. I write fantasy and science fiction. I thought I had to bring the fantastic into the world because we lived in such a boring world. And, but we don't. And I'm so glad to be proven wrong. But yeah, so I have seen a UFO. I saw my first UFO like a couple months ago. And it was weird. It made this sign of the cross in the air. And that's on the heels of me reading Dolores Cannon's books about Jesus. Again, I was an atheist until I got into all of this. And but one thing the aliens talk about occasionally is Jesus, believe it or not. The beings will talk about Jesus and say, you should follow the teachings of Jesus, not necessarily the Bible, but the teachings of Jesus. So that kind of got me curious about Jesus and what were the teachings of Jesus. I didn't want to read the Bible. I didn't trust the dogma. And but it's really interesting because the Dolores Cannon material is past life regressions, people who remember Jesus in a past life. And I think that you have to take all channeled information, and I consider that channeled information. You have to take all that with a grain of salt. I do think it could be manipulated by, jinn, or, whatever, negative beings there are, or trickster beings. But really amazing two books about Jesus that I really resonated with. It dealt with, Atlantis and aliens and, all sorts of crazy stuff. So, I really resonated with that version of Jesus. And I was reading that. I had finished it, and I was reading some follow-up books like the Essenes, Children of Light, and something about other, like the grandmother of Jesus book, Anna. I think that's the one I was probably reading when I saw the UFO that made the shape of the cross in the sky. So, and that is my analytic overlay of what I saw, which, remote viewers will warn you against, interpreting what you're seeing. So, I could be wrong about that, but it went, one object went like that. And then it came into being, it moved like that, vanished. And then I did a little C5. I sent out my love and everything. And instantly another object made a shorter line like that, like 90 degrees from the original line, and a shorter line, like the shape of the cross. So, yeah. What was that? Was that a nuts and bolts UFO? I doubt it. Was that? I have no idea what that was. I have no idea what that was. You tell me what you think about that. Love the tech new. Okay, I don't know what that means, but thank you. If we knew everything, could we handle it? Maybe that is the problem. Forget the government. Is there a way for any of us to make contact with a friendly being? Yes, I have. We have made contact with friendly beings, actually. All right. Okay. So, all right. So I guess, so that's, like I said, I'm all blurry now. Shit. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I co-founded a MUFON group. If you know what MUFON is, the Mutual UFO Network. And we've done 2 Skywatches, and I've been to one other UFO Skywatch. Both of our Skywatches, I invited my Reiki instructor, Bonnie. I'm not going to give you her full name because she hasn't given me permission to talk about this stuff, but I mean, she probably wouldn't mind. But we invited her to kick off the CE5, because we were doing CE5 and I was leading the CE5 effort. But I didn't want to interact with any negative entities, because that is a concern with the CE5. There are negative entities out there, and I did not want any of that. I didn't want to bring that among us. So I asked Bonnie to come along. She's an amazing lady, very gifted spiritually and energetically. She's been dealing with cosmic beings for decades. And so, yeah, she kicked off the CE5. And the first time, I didn't see anything because it wasn't a nuts and bolts event. There weren't any nuts and bolts UFOs running around. So I just sat there and meditated for 20 minutes or so after, the initial kickoff, where she invited the beings of the highest vibration to come down. And she got all our energy swirling and made this connection. And beings came down. Beings came down. I didn't think anything was happening, but around me, people were having these powerful experiences. And when I was collecting accounts afterward, they all aligned with each other. They were completely unaware of what the other people were experiencing, but everything they were saying corroborated each other's accounts. And they were interacting with these higher dimensional beings. They were having these like out of body experiences where these beings of, kind of light, but kind of colorful light, various colors, were coming down and interacting with them. And they were having these really cool experiences. And they were seeing lights in the sky as well as other stuff. And Bonnie later told me those were actually the Reiki beings, because there are higher dimensional beings associated with Reiki and the Reiki energies, helping people presumably heal and use this energy in the specific modalities of Reiki, because there's other modalities of energy healing. And anyway, so yeah, so that was not a nuts and bolts UFO. That's why I didn't include that when you asked if I had seen a UFO or I had interactions with UFOs. But yeah, so there was that, and also I did not directly interact with them at that time. I initiated the CE5. I'm the one that was my idea to do it, and I organized it, but and it was a successful CE5. I mean, about 6 different people were interacting with these higher dimensional beings of light and healing. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. Linda Moulton Howe, A Conscious Life, said in her presentation that ET has basically been our creators and has been on Earth for over 2 million years. Look for her video. Robert Moulty, Scott Bray, and Avril Haines are our heroes or villains. Well, I mean, I'm not a fan of Bray and Moultrie. Avril Haines, we'll see how that goes. If I'm saying that right. Avril, have you ever had dreams that didn't happen in real life? It's happened twice to me, but I think it's a coincidence. I don't seem to have any psychic abilities or like that, like looking into the future. But that's really interesting, and maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe you do have some abilities, Alan. Alejandro says, "Awesome, thank you for your answer to my question." Yeah, I mean, I've had a really crazy few years. You know, I've had all these various experiences. I mean, again, I'm not a super experiencer, but for me, coming from my humdrum, mundane life, to have these amazing experiences, it's just really, really hard to believe. Really hard to wrap my head around. Still having a hard time wrapping my head around it and wondering what it means. You know, Bonnie just says, well, you know, it may just be because, like it is for her, a part of her life now, and things happen for her. And, you know, your brain tries to interpret it and to put meaning on it and think maybe it's building to something. But it may just be the way it is for you now, or you know, for some people. And, you know, don't think too much about it, or worry too much about it. You know, as long as the you know, things are positive, and for me they have always been positive, except for that time that I interacted with that negative entity, and I just posted a video about that. But in that case, I sought it out, and it was my own fault. I went to the haunted location, I investigated it, I wanted to interact with the negative crap that was there, and I did. So, you know, lesson learned. And I haven't done any ghost hunts since then, and my ghost hunting group has basically broken up. So, I don't think I'm going to do any ghost hunting like that in the future. However, I will. You know, I am interested in, because I went. Bonnie and I went on a clearing a haunted house of the negative entities there, and that was cool. And so, and, you know, I was able to help energetically. I was able to assist in that, apparently. So, um, you know, that was cool. If I could do some good, actually helping people, you know, do some ghost busting, or, you know, that sounds bad. You know, ghost busting. You know, those ghosts need to get some help. So, you know, yeah. So I might be interested in doing something like that. If the opportunity came up to do more of that, I might do that. Now, let's see. There's the CE5 thing and astral projection. Yeah, I've been wanting to do astral projection. I've been wanting to have an out of body experience. Now, I had a Kundalini awakening, but I was mostly in my body during that. I was, you know, I was like half out of my body a little bit, but it was very physical. And so I've been wanting to try to have an out of body experience. I've tried to do it. I haven't been able to do it yet. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I've been doing like the gateway process from the Monroe Institute. I haven't finished it yet. You know, if anybody has any pointers, let me know. I have heard that, you know, It can be dangerous. Bad things can happen. And other people will say, "Oh, that's just negative people. It's really not that dangerous." So I don't know, but it sounds really exciting. I mean, when you think of the possibilities, going to other dimensions, having adventures in other modes of reality. I mean, that's just amazing. That's just amazing. Um, let's see, what are you guys talking about? Yeah, astral projection not easy to achieve. We can only guess based on what they wrote in the NDAA. I'm not sure what that's in response to. I have no. Maybe that's whistleblower protection. Do I have water dripping from my mustache? I have a friend, contactee in Mexico City that contact with serious beings. Oh, and by the way, please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, all that kind of good stuff. Channel break. I have a friend, contactee in Mexico City, that contact with serious beings. Okay, what are serious beings? Are those Greys? Are those Nordics? What Alejandro? Can you tell me what a serious being is? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I think the Pleiadians, are they the Nordics? I think there's like a few different varieties of them. He has a physical and telepathic connection with them. Yes, Alejandro, I am very much interested. Please tell me more about that. Yeah, okay, you can put me in contact with him. Please, absolutely do. I would love that. Let's see. Anthony says, I don't think Skinwalker Ranch is a good place to contact a friendly being. Yes, no, I think you're right. Almost all of the activity associated with Skinwalker Ranch is negative. I mean, some of it's benign. There's a lot of benign encounters, just something will happen. But, and sometimes it's playful. So, I guess you could say that playful is not negative, like with the Gormans, the Shermans that live there, they would have a trickster phenomenon. The Mrs. Sherman would be, putting up the groceries, and she would put them up and she'd turn her back, and then the groceries would be back in the bag. Or she'd be taking a shower with the door locked, and whatever trickster element is there would make her towel disappear. So, I mean, I guess you could say that's playful. That's kind of cute. And then there's the Travis Taylor story that I love so much, with the butt warmer, where his butt warmer wasn't working on one side, or on his side. And then when he switched places with his daughter when they were driving, suddenly it was working on the side that he was sitting in. But now on the side that he was sitting in currently, it stopped working. So, so that shows a sense of humor with whatever is there. But is that positive? Is a trickster positive? Because almost all of the stuff there is negative, and sometimes very negative health problems. Yeah. Okay. LD Drum says, I've tried astral projection and reached the vibration stage, but not much else. Yeah. That's my understanding, is that's the first stage, as you vibrate. And I've never reached that. I've had an out of wallet experience. Yeah. Lex says, I've tried astral projection, but would wound up lucid dreaming. Well, I've also wanted to do that. I have a cool little gizmo here. It's supposed to help with lucid dreaming. Oh my god! Okay. Yeah, you hook up this gizmo to your ears, and it sends like a signal through your brain. And yeah, it's called a soda biotuner, and it's supposed to help produce lucid dreams. I haven't been able to get it to work. I haven't had a lucid dream, but it does help me dream more vividly. So that's cool. But I haven't been able to take control of the dream yet. So something to work on. But yeah, Skinwalker Ranch, very negative, very scary, negative. Could that be to scare people off so they can use the portal that's there? I don't know. But yeah, very scary, very negative. Giant wolves, all sorts of crazy nonsense. What's up with the wolves? What is up with the Skinwalkers? I really want to know. Because in the book Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, the authors say, well, they were investigating the area, the Uintah Basin area, not just the ranch. And they were interviewing lots of people, and many people had seen these skinwalkers, these wolves, giant wolves, and wolf men, dog men, werewolf-like beings. In fact, so many people had seen them, and they were actually able to, excuse me, track the migration patterns of these beings, these skinwalkers. So many people had seen these things, and there was so much evidence, and apparently a consistency in the direction these things were moving, that they were able to track the migration patterns of them. But after dropping that tantalizing detail, they don't go into any detail about it. They don't mention it again. They don't talk about it. I mean, so frustrating. So frustrating. I mean, how can you drop a juicy detail like that? We're able to pack the migration patterns of skinwalkers. Next subject. Moving on. Moving on. So, yeah, I mean, what is that about? What does that mean? Skinwalkers migrating. What? I mean, they're intelligent beings. Do intelligent beings migrate? I mean, I guess if they're nomadic, I guess maybe they do. If they are Indians or Native Americans, um, maybe they are nomadic. Nomadic. Maybe there's a group of them and they are nomadic and they migrate. Is that what that means? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't even take the idea of skinwalkers seriously at all. In fact, I didn't until recently, until my first ayahuasca retreat, when I realized the actual power of shamanic magic, and I don't know if magic is the right word, but connection to spirit. Um, whatever the right word is there, it exists and it's powerful and it's real. And I've heard numerous accounts of negative shamans that use their power for evil, for gain, for self gain, and whatever, for selfish interests. And so, is it possible that a real shaman with real abilities and real connection, could they then use that to transform shape or make other people think they had transformed their shape or something? I mean, that sounds so crazy, but so does all of this. So does all of this. How does that sound any more crazy than a Bigfoot turning into an orb, or anything else? So, um, I don't know. So, are there skinwalkers? Are there actual skinwalkers? I thought that was just a boogeyman, just a legend. Maybe it's more than that. I've tried astral projection. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. It's difficult and requires lots of practice talking about lucid dreaming. People that are good at it often started as kids. What happened to a Stardust Ranch? I think Stardust Ranch, was that debunked or sold? Stardust Ranch. That's, I think that's what you're saying. That, that rings a bell, but I can't bring it to mind. Remind me what Stardust Ranch is. Alejandro says they are fifth dimensional benevolent beings. Okay, we're talking about the. Let me go up. Yeah, which ones were we talking about? He was in contact with the serious beings. The serious beings are the fifth dimensional benevolent beings. Okay, cool. I think the Reiki beings are also said to be fifth dimensional. Some people think they're Arcturians, which are supposed to be little blue guys, and very wise, mystical little blue guys. And although there do seem to be different classifications of the Reiki beings, people that can see them, because in my Reiki group, I'm like the remedial one. The other guys are way more advanced than I am. They can sense energies and stuff way better than I can, and sometimes they can see stuff that I can't. And some of the things they see are the beings that will come through to assist in healing. Those are the Reiki beings. Some people think they are Arcturians, or some of them Arcturians, but there do seem to be at least two different types. One of them are very warm and friendly and they interact with you in a very loving, very positive, very friendly way. Another one is very cold and clinical. They're just here to do the job. They're there to heal you, and then they boogie on. So, does that mean different races? I don't know what that means, but it's fascinating. But yeah. Um, Raz says, we are joining in it as a big group to go down to South America to an ayahuasca session. Will you do one of these sessions? Actually, I was planning to go on a 10-day master plant diet retreat, including 4 ayahuasca ceremonies in Peru in April and May. I had been planning on doing that. But the master, because it's not strictly an ayahuasca ceremony, it's a master plant diet ceremony that my shaman does. And it's very hardcore. I mean, you only basically eat boiled vegetables and some potatoes or something for like 10 days. And you basically only eat once a day. Um, and I'm hypoglycemic. I, 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 I don't know if I could physically do that. He says there's some plants that I could work with that might help. So maybe. But yeah, so that is something I've been looking into and something I would like to do at some point is an extended deep dive into the plant medicine. But I'm very happy with what I have here because he comes and does a really great ceremony or a retreat here in Texas. I can't give you the location, but it's there's 3 ceremonies over 3 nights, and it's he does that 2 or 3 times a year, and it's very powerful, and it changed my life. Changed me physically. I had a divine healing. Just amazing. Just amazing. Um, but yeah, I am interested in going down to South America and doing that. I don't think I'm at this point interested in doing the master plant diet retreat, where you're working. I mean, that hardcore thing where you're only eating once a day and eating boiled vegetables and stuff. I don't think I can do that. But if it were something else, if it were more focused on simply ayahuasca, or I'm very happy to work with other plants as well. But I've got to eat. I mean, you saw I had to eat right now. I was shaky. I have severe hypoglycemia. Let's see. Rick says that was the ranch where the guy said he was getting attacked by beings. Oh, that guy, the guy that was running around chopping off the heads of aliens with his sword. Yeah, I don't know about that guy. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, once you start laughing at people for crazy experiences, and then you have a crazy experience and people laugh at you, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have laughed at that guy. So, uh, uh, um, all right, that's right. Ghost Adventures went to Stardust Ranch too. I wonder why nobody's talking about it still. John Edmonds. That name sounds very familiar. Is that the guy who owns the ranch? Might be a good video to do some current research on. Billy says, "Finally, I'm back." All right. Welcome back, Billy. Welcome back. Well, does anybody have any thoughts they would like to share, or any questions they have? It's been over an hour now. I might be ready to move around for a minute, but I'm happy to hang out for another few minutes and answer any questions or talk about any particular subject you guys want to talk about. There's still about 50 people here, so happy to. Uh, yeah, thank you, Billy. I'm going to cook myself a burger now. That was yeah. LD Drum says I'm going to cook myself a burger now out of frustration. Love it. Yeah. That was a nothing burger. I think I'm in the mood for a burger too. Got to have something to fill that void, right? Homo capensis. I don't know what that means, Lex. What is that? Alejandro says, thank you. Billy says, signing off. Well, thank you, Billy. And I think I'm going to go too. You guys, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and comment below after the live stream turns off. Let other people know what you're thinking. And anyway, this is Jack signing off. I'll see you next time, guys.